Welcome to Candid Conversations with Candidates, sponsored by Crowing Power in partnership with the Brainerd Lakes Chamber and Lakes Media Collaborative. I'm Lisa Paxton with the Brainerd Lakes Chamber, and I'm here with Phil Kinnunen, candidate for Cass County Commissioner, District 3. Welcome, Phil. Good to have you here today.
Well, thank you. My name is Phil Kinnunen, and I'd like to get your vote as I run for District 3 Commissioner in Cass County. I'm a Minnesota native. I was born in Esco, Minnesota. My wife Cleo and I have been married for 37 years, the last 14 years of which we've lived in the Pine River area. I am an Air Force veteran, and I'm currently employed by Mid-America Dynamics, a small engineering group that employs me as a field services consultant. I have a degree in applied science in vibroacoustics from Red Wing Technical Institute. A number of years ago, as I was serving as a transport officer for the Cass County Sheriff's Department, I became interested in county politics as they were dealing with the issues of expanding the current courthouse and jail in the Walker area, or finding a new site to build a completely new facility. At the time, we were housing inmates in Aiken County and Morrison County. At the time, ongoing talks were engaged with other counties on building a regional jail. Those fell apart, and eventually a 10-year contract was signed with Crow Wing County, as Crow Wing County was building a new facility here in Brainerd. I didn't think that was a very good idea. The concept of, we paid over $2 million to have a 60-bed pod built onto the Crow Wing County jail. And 6 years into that contract, we're still guaranteed 40 beds. We're paying over $47 a day for each of those beds, whether there's one person there or 40 people. And again, I said I didn't think this was a very good idea, so I became interested in this process of what it takes to build a new courthouse and jail facility. And that's when I came to the realization that this wasn't as easy as it seems. So my interest is in being involved in this process to make sure that level heads prevail and that this project is ongoing in a reasonable, orderly fashion.
Thanks, Phil. We've got to move on to our questions. So you touched on a priority for you. Perhaps you can share, what is your top priority if elected?
Well, the top priority in the next year obviously will be unfunded federal mandates and the continuing of being able to provide the services for the residents of Cass County, health and human services, law enforcement, protection, and those types of things. And the direction the economy is taking now, there may be further cuts coming from the federal than from the state.
Okay, thank you. So give me 3 things that distinguishes you from the other candidate running for this position.
Well, first of all, as I've been campaigning around the county, or in my district, I have found people that have never spoken to Jeff Peterson, whom I'm running against. I've never spoken with him either. And so I guess that's one thing. I'll try to be more available to people. That's not always easily accomplished, but I'll make an effort to do that if I'm elected. Also, if there's something that I can help you with, I'll be able to help you. If I can't, I'll give you a reasonable explanation as to why I'm not able to do anything to help you out.
Okay, thank you. So let's talk budget. You touched on that a little bit. What are your budget priorities and how will you pay for them?
Well, budget priorities are the basics. At the commissioner level, the commissioners are responsible for providing for law enforcement and jail protection, health and human services, and the majority of that funding comes from federal and state funding, and continued lobbying of our representatives in state and at the federal level would be required to ensure that funding continues to come our way.
Okay, thanks. You talked a little bit about the economy in your earlier comments. How do you ensure that Cass County is business friendly?
Well, to be business friendly, you have to be you have to have a positive environment for businesses to start and grow. And that's one of the things that I anticipate in the years to come. In the next 5, 10, 15 years will be more baby boomers will be retiring to the lakes area, and a lot of those may be former business people who may get bored with their retirement or may find that they need to supplement their retirement income. And things that small towns and the counties and the townships can do is make it a positive environment and help businesses start rather than hinder and put roadblocks in front of them as unreasonable regulations and that sort of thing.
Do you have some specifics on how you would help those businesses?
Well, currently Cass County does have a liaison that works with people who are starting to get businesses growing in the area, or to start businesses in the area, and I would continue to support that.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about community partners. You mentioned Cass County Economic Development. What community partners would you work with if elected?
Well, community partners are going to be the VFWs, churches, American Legion, and other volunteer organizations, because at a grassroots level they can do a lot, not just to help people that are in a position where they could use that type of help, but it's also a morale booster, and community activities that involve more people in the community are always a positive thing in a community.
Okay, good. Thank you. At this point, that concludes our formal questions, so I just turn it to you. Is there anything else you want to add and share with the voters that are watching today?
Well, I'll get back to the issue of the courthouse jail expansion. As a transport officer, my job and responsibilities were transporting prisoners from the jail to medical appointments, plus picking up people that had been arrested in other other counties throughout the state, and then transporting them back to Walker, or here to the new jail in Crow Wing County. And I visited over 50% of the jails in the state of Minnesota, and I was able to see firsthand jail courthouse facilities that work very well and others that don't work well. And I think as we go into this process of planning and executing a new facility in Walker, my experience as a transport officer and in corrections, I think I can bring some insight and some level-headed thinking to the process in Cass County.
Okay, good. Thank you again for joining us. You have joined us for Candid Conversations with Candidates. Visit this and other interviews at votebrainerdlakes.com, and remember, vote November 6th.